You know, when you think about it, history is really just this long chain of moments. A split-second decision here, a word there, most just fade away, right? But some moments, they create monsters. And today, we're gonna look at one of the biggest. So let's start with a really tough question. Could one man's mercy actually create a monster? I mean, really, think about that. It's a chilling thought, and to find the answer, we have to go way back into the mud of World War I.
Okay, picture this. It's September 1918. The Great War is almost over. A decorated British soldier, a guy named Henry Tandey, he has a wounded German corporal square in his sights. Easy shot. He could have pulled the trigger, ended it right there, but he doesn't. He lowers his rifle. The German soldier, he actually nods like a thank you and just limps off. And that corporal, yeah, that was Adolf Hitler. A single moment of mercy, and the future of the world was changed forever. So that's the moment his life was spared. But before he became this dictator, he was just a soldier. And that infamous feature of his, you know the one I'm talking about, it wasn't some ideological statement. Nope, it came from a desperate, practical need to just survive.
Yeah, that's right, the toothbrush mustache. It turns out his original, bigger mustache was actually preventing his gas mask from sealing properly during a poison gas attack. So, what do? You trim it. It was literally a choice between his mustache and his life. And that life-saving trim, my God, it would go on to become a symbol of death for millions.
Okay, so the war ends, Hitler goes back home to a Germany that is just on its knees, completely humiliated, broken, and just seething with anger. It was the perfect storm, a perfect breeding ground for a message of pure hate. And the spark that was about to light this massive fire? Total economic collapse. It all started with the Treaty of Versailles. Germany was ordered to pay these impossible reparations. We're talking the equivalent of 96,000 tons of gold. I mean, insane. So, of course, they couldn't pay. France and Belgium then marched in and occupied their main industrial region. The German government, trying to support striking workers, did the only thing it could think of. It started printing money. And then it just didn't stop. They printed and printed until the money itself was basically worthless paper.
All right, I want you to just look at this number for a second. 2 billion. Just let that sink in. What in the world could cost 2 billion of anything?
Well, by late 1923 in Germany, that was the price of a loaf of bread. A single loaf. Can you even imagine? People were literally hauling wheelbarrows filled with cash just to go grocery shopping. Your entire life savings? Gone. Wiped out in just a few weeks. The country was completely imploding.
I mean, it got so bad that people were actually burning stacks of money in their fireplaces to stay warm because the paper was worth more as fuel than as currency. And it's into this absolute chaos, this desperation, that a voice starts to get louder, promising to save them all.
And of course, Hitler didn't see a tragedy. He saw an opening. He saw his chance to grab for power. His first shot at it was this violent coup back in 1923, the famous beer hall putsch. And it was a total disaster. The whole thing got crushed and Hitler ended up in prison. But here's the thing, that prison sentence was maybe the most important part of his rise. Because in that cell, he didn't just sit around. He wrote his blueprint for hate, Mein Kampf, and he learned a lesson that would change everything. And what was that lesson? That trying to take over with guns hadn't worked. He realized the only way to win was to play the game, to destroy democracy from the inside out. He was going to use the system to kill the system. No more bullets. It was all about the ballot box now. And just look at how well that strategy worked. In 1928, the Nazis were basically a political joke. They got a measly 2.6% of the vote. But then, bam, the 1929 Great Depression hits, and the German economy gets hammered all over again. And by 1932, their vote share skyrocketed to over 37%. See what happens? When people are desperate enough, when they're plunged back into chaos, they start listening to extremists who promise easy answers.
So he gets appointed chancellor in 33, and from that moment on, he moved with just terrifying speed. He manufactured crises to get other parties outlawed. He had his own rivals within the Nazi party murdered in the Night of the Long Knives. And then he just merged the jobs of chancellor and president into one new role, created just for him, the Führer, the absolute all-powerful leader.
So, okay, now he has total power. And he starts putting his core belief into action, this sick, twisted ideology of racial purity that he would use to justify genocide. But here's the kicker. The whole thing was built on a lie. a massive lie that was literally hidden in his own DNA.
I mean, listen to his own words. His entire worldview was built on this idea of a master race, the so-called Aryan race. Everyone else, Jews, Slavs, people of African descent, he saw them as subhuman, things to be either enslaved or just wiped out.
So what do you think happens when modern science gets a look at the DNA of the guy who preached racial purity above everything else?
You can't make this up. It is the most bitter irony imaginable. DNA tests on his own living relatives found a genetic group, a haplogroup, that's really common in, wait for it, North African populations. And even more stunning, it's one of the major founding lineages of the Ashkenazi Jewish population. The man who unleashed the Holocaust almost certainly carried the genetic markers of the very people he tried to exterminate.
But you know, this story doesn't just end with him in that bunker in Berlin. Not at all. The laboratory he created, this entire state built on total war and technological terror, it cast a shadow so long, we're still living in it today.
Think about it. Those V-2 rockets that rained down on London, they became the direct ancestors of the Cold War's ballistic missiles. The whole scientific arms race he kicked off, it led us to the moon, yeah, but it also gave us the atom bomb. His blueprint for total war changed everything. So that one single moment of mercy back in 1918, it didn't just spare one man's life, it fundamentally reshaped the entire world. And it leaves you with this final, really chilling question. Are we ever truly free from the echoes of the past?
The website da 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 da. Yeah. Come on da 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 da.